Good morning, people. I was teeter-tottering. I was thinking about doing a live, but you see, really what I do is live. It's just that I don't take any comments as I'm going, and therefore I don't get distracted. Might be good. We could follow a few paths, couldn't we, if I got distracted here, there, and everywhere. I mean, I do that well enough by myself. It's Sunday. And I did not do. I had thought, remember, I talked about it last Sunday. I was going to start maybe getting dressed up on Sundays. That's a habit that I do not have. Okay. Once upon a time, I like to tell stories. So once upon a time, I was a secretary. Or actually, no, okay. I'm going way back when my daughter was young. She was in first, second, or third grade, and I had a job working for a secretarial service. And basically, I just did menial task itself for answering the phone. I answered the phone both for our business and then several other businesses. Took messages, relayed calls. It made it good for the small business person to have a secretarial service that he only pays for when he uses. You know, like having a letter typed up and photocopies made and maybe mailed out. But anyway, it frees up the little guy to go out and do his work and let someone else answer his phone. And that can also happen with the woman, too, because the place I worked was the woman that owned the place. You know, it was back in the time when they were giving out money. Not that that's where she got hers, but there was a lot of incentive programs for women starting businesses. Okay. Anyway, but she was the woman owning this business, and actually her husband ends up being the chief of police. But I was working for them part-time, and I just went in and answered the phones and then did the photocopies. I didn't do the typing of the letters. You know, they had other people that did that. However, I can do that. I mean, I could have made myself a secretarial service, but I just didn't. You know, when you're just starting out, it takes a lot. It takes a lot to get going and having customers to where you can warrant having a business because it costs money. I mean, the idea is you need money, right? And you've got to spend a bunch of money. So you need to have things going on, like clients, and like they need your service and they're willing to pay for your service. And that's the secretarial service, you know. So she had the secretarial service and the answering service together. And then I met Sue Struck, who was the owner of the Bustling Broom. I hope she's okay. I wonder if she's still living. Anyway, I worked with her for a little while. But in the beginning, she was worried about me taking her business because I had to do things to make money, you know, and I did do some cleaning. But no, I wasn't going to be taking her business away. But I ended up working for her. I like that name, is really cute. And then later on, I turned a friend of mine onto her because I didn't want to keep doing it, and the friend of mine wanted to really go after it, so they went together and did. And I know I've traveled down a path. I don't know the date, and my name is Lou. It's the 14th. Wow. Time does. It just keeps on going. So, I know I said it already, it's Sunday, and I did not get dressed up. We went to Walmart this morning, Jessica and Shebera and me. And that was a nice little field trip. And yes, I was on my feet quite a bit, which is good. But I was like in my head saying, okay, where is there a place I can sit down? Because that was a long time. But anyway, no, we went and had some pictures blown up. She gave me a frame. I don't know if it was just a couple of years ago. She gave me a picture frame that had all these different slots, okay? And I was supposed to choose pictures so she could have them printed and put in there. So that's what we did, part of it this morning. But I was just sending her pictures that fit the frame that, you know, was necessary, but also that had my family, me and one of the grandchildren, instead of all of them. But I would need to do that with all of the pictures. Anyway, I have to go look at it. I haven't seen it. It's laying on the table. I just remembered. So anyway, then we'll get that up on the wall. That'll be nice. You know, what would you put? What pictures would you choose for your wall? And if you were only going to put, I mean, these are like 4x6 size, okay? Because it's a menage. I don't know if that's the right word, but you know, it's a grouping, an abstract grouping of family members or whatever. It's picture frames all put together as one. So you can either have portrait or landscape. So I was going through what pictures I do have on my phone because I don't have a lot. It's not funny. Over the years, I've lost all my pictures, really, pretty much. And then by stupidity, you know, when the thing says you don't have any storage and you start getting rid of things that you don't think you really need. And sometimes you just got a bunch of the same thing. I need to go through there some more and clean some stuff out. But at least with the real pictures in a photograph album, if you have enough room for all the albums, no, it's better to have digital, really. It's so far you need to have backup. And I've never had backup. It's so far the cloud, that's a backup. I just don't have enough storage. And I don't quite understand it all. I gotta quit slumping over. Okay, so it's the 14th. Wow. It's a Sunday. So here we have a new week starting. Has anybody got ideas? I've been looking at those tutorials about sew and sell, things that you can sew that maybe someone might like. You know, something unique. Actually, it's kind of cute. You know, they have the bowl cozies, but like this woman was saying, she's found that she likes a cozy on everything. And one of her things was like a thing of ice cream. You know, a thing of ice cream that's just, I want to say Brewers or Briars or something. You could have Ben and Jerry, isn't that one? Nevertheless, it's a cup. It's I would say a serving size, but they would say maybe 2 serving sizes. You know, if you don't go overboard, that would be 2 servings. But when you have ice cream, you got to go overboard. I love ice cream. Let me see if I got some cold water I can drink. Okay, I guess I could give you a little update on some stuff, unless I lose it. I quit taking the ivermectin a few days ago. I mean, later on down the road, I'll take it again, but I had, like I said, taken it overkill. If I was giving that to a horse, you would only give them the dose once every 6 months or 12 months. So I went overboard. But I also went through the digestive system, which takes a lot of it away. Because I think because things go out through the intestines. So maybe it gets filtered in the liver. Anyway, so I think it's time to take a break. Things started happening, you know. Plus, I just don't eat very good. I need to eat better. I had a smoothie a couple of days ago, and I'm going to eat an avocado today. And I had strudel. I shouldn't have had that, but it was in the freezer. It's been there a long time, and I needed to eat. And I probably need to do some other things instead of make videos. But whatever shall I do? This channel has taken over. I know that's probably not making sense to a lot of you. I started out to do one thing, but I continued on. Because I do, I do believe I have a lot to say. I don't know how many years I could get to. But even to get to is what I'm trying to say. Also, that's two different ways of looking at that. I don't know if you'll understand what I mean. In other words, there's reaching. There's getting to someone and giving them my information. But if they don't delve into the channel, and when I say delve, because it's true, it's like delving into the scriptures, people. There's a lot there. I have given you a lot. I have 1,100 and some odd videos on here, and I have deleted some because I don't quite understand the space factor, and sometimes there's just something sitting there that no one's paying attention to, and it's only got only a few views, and it's taken an hour and a half, so I have deleted some stuff, and I really wish I wouldn't have. One of them was Alma 56. I read Alma 56. That's about, those of you who are members of the church, you might even still not know, but in the Book of Mormon, there's this group of young men, 2,000 warriors, that took up the arms of their fathers. Their fathers had made a covenant, I believe that would be correct, an oath that they would not kill ever again, okay? Because evidently they did quite a bit of that, and they had found the light, okay? I know my hair keeps getting in my face. They were converted, and they didn't want to kill no more. So they buried, if I'm remembering right, they buried their weapons. So here they got people coming onto them in war. And because of their oath, they're going to lay there and die. I don't remember what exactly happens there, but see, there's this other thing going on. There's this war. They're taking over these towns here, there, and yon, okay? The Lamanites, I believe. It's usually the Lamanites against the Nephites. The very beginning of the Book of Mormon, those four brothers, okay? Laman and Lemuel, Sam and Nephi. So Laman is the eldest, and he's a jerk face, you know what? but they turn into savages. They were cursed with a red skin because of their savagery. That's correct words. They hated their brother. By the time it was said and done, and they had grown children, and then they had become a nation, and they had become, I don't know how the heck all that happens, but anyway. I'm talking, those ones in the beginning, Lehi and his 4 sons that left Jerusalem and came over to this country, okay, and started this country. There was another nation that was here too. They were called the Jaredites, and they were from the time of the Tower of Babel. So that was a way long time ago. I believe way long time before, because Lehi's family, they left Jerusalem 600 years. 600 years before Christ. So I'm not sure, but I'm thinking, Christ came after 4,000 years. Okay? So 600 years would put it more close to Jesus. So there's a whole lot of territory. I'm not sure if that's back when it's Moses' day. Moses led the Jews out of bondage from Egypt. So there's just all these different timelines, and I do get lost very easily. Don't take me down a trail. There's things going on, people. Kind of strange. I mean, I've talked about it a lot. I've been reading to you about it, the second coming. It's nigh at hand. And look what's going on. Every nation will be fighting over Israel. The Battle of Armageddon. Armageddon is a place over in Israel. There's been many a battle at Armageddon. There's going to be some more. I don't know about all that stuff, okay? The final battles, and because there's different kinds of battles. The battle for your soul is a major battle. That's not the one necessarily with blood. Those ones out there killing. But look what they just did. You're going to have to make a stand. Sooner or later, you're going to have to make a stand. Who will you stand with? I've made my stand. And it's on my introduction card. I stand with and for Jesus Christ. I stand beside him, and I fight for him if I need to. We're all going to have to fight for our liberty sooner or later. All hell's fixing to break loose. And no, I don't know anything about it. I just know that I know the prophecies a little bit, and I know the second coming is coming. And it's going to get bad before he comes. And it's already bad. Things are lining up. We do have a big old war going on over yonder. And we do have a big old war right here at home with the things that go in our eyes and into our mind and the things that we do. choices we're making. There's always that little ripple effect. So you're not necessarily just hurting yourself, you might be hurting others. And you might be doing it without realizing you're doing it. I gave my card to somebody just recently. I hope she got on the channel. You know, anyway. I don't know if you can see it. My eyes are blurry, so I can't tell. I think that's really nice. I need to order some more. But the thing is, yeah, pass them along. Get on my channel. Right there, you got your phone in your hand. I know you do. It's like these things are glued to us, you know. So much, I made a bunch of money off of that. Not just one person, but lots of different industries. Like the people putting the phones together, the people providing the service. Still don't know how all that works. So purchasing the phones and buying the service. And now little babies have these phones. They know how to use them more than us old folks. I got a lot to learn. So any old who, I need to take care of business. I know I keep saying that. And I've also said I need a mommy. When I say I need a mom, I just need someone to make me do what I don't want to do. Because sometimes when it's in your own hands, then it doesn't get done. I know that they're ugly. Okay. I gotta go take care of that. I've not ever been able to find the right frames that I want. Okay. I did not put my phone number on my card. You know what? I should have my bracelet on. Anyway, I'll put this one on. What's going on? Yeah. Most business cards have a phone number, but this really isn't a business card. This is an introduction card to my channel. So it gives you the key to get onto my channel. And then you can hear me talk. A whole bunches. And yeah, I lose my voice. So it says visit Lose Touch on YouTube. I stand with and for Jesus Christ. And I know my voice left with that I, but I already told you that. Okay, that was the second line. Those two lines are fairly big. First line bigger than the second. And then I've got three little lines. And so here's a statement that Jesus said to his apostles when he sent them out 2 by 2 to teach. So he sent 2 people, one. So you're not alone. He told them to be wise as a serpent and as harmless as a dove. And then he said, turn on your, no. I lied, okay? I wrote a paper called Turn On Your Light So You're Not in the Dark. That's that next line. So if you put that in the search bar, turn on your light so you are not in the dark. On Lose Touch. If you put that up there, you'll find it. and it's really good. And then it's got my email, so you can write me, okay? So there's the email, and then there's a thing called donate to my Cash App. And then there's my Cash App, which is $ lose touch. So for it's all little letters and no apostrophe. When you go to get on my channel, it's LOU apostrophe S space TOUCH. And I know I hear my voice is just getting really low. I'm not sure. It's probably a bunch of different factors. Because I do hit a vape. Okay, so Lou's Magical Brew. This was on the back. I'm Lou. I didn't know if I told you that already. Anyway, Lou's Magical Brew, made with RSO. Relieves pain. Promotes blood flow. Makes lovemaking extraordinary. Follow the ramblings of Lou's brain. What does she think? And let her explain. I had papers and papers and papers where I was putting lines together with a certain amount of characters I had to work with, and I wanted to use exactly how much room I had. I didn't want to miss out on any advertising space. And so back here where it says Lou's Magical Brew, made with RSO. For those of you who do not know what RSO is, here, it's Rick Simpson Oil. I don't know if he's still alive. I should look that up. But if you put Rick Simpson Oil, just put Rick Simpson. If you just put Rick Simpson on your search bar, you'll get a ton of stuff, okay? And he extracted this oil from the marijuana plant. And it's like a thick black oil. And then he went around, I mean, he used it on himself, but he also went around and shared it with people who had melanoma. I'm sure that's the skin, right? Skin cancer. Anyway, he healed their cancer with it. Now that was putting it on full strength, and that was putting it on the skin. Like I've got this mole here, and I've got a spot here that I could probably go and have removed. Maybe I should, especially this one. But I had it looked at when I was with my dad. I took him to the dermatologist. He needed to go. And then I asked the guy while I was in there about that. He told me I didn't have to worry about it. And he said if I take it off, it's still going to leave a mark where it was. So I don't know. And this one was just a really different one. So nevertheless, I don't know how I got onto those. Oh, the Rick Simpson oil and the melanoma. Okay, so anyway, Rick Simpson oil is most excellent medicine. And I took it further because of a lot of experience with it. I found that I had a problem. I couldn't get it into my system. The particles of oil, the particles are too big. I don't have a gallbladder, so I don't have a good digestive system going on. The gases, acids. So anyway, I couldn't even get it into me. So I ended up after days and days of taking a bunch. But I took it in capsule form, and I think putting it in the capsule kind of made it solid. And it just sat there. It didn't go anywhere. And one day I threw it all up. And there it was, all my capsules that I had taken. But that's what they're having them take, though, is that oil. They are using that Rick Simpson oil as a treatment for cancer. I was going to say a cure, but I'll say a treatment. And not just for the nausea and all those things. And also it helps with your appetite. You know, if you're not eating, you need to eat. And it will help with that. But this oil, there's a regimen for fighting cancer. So the point is, I can't get that oil into my system. It just doesn't work. And as I'm looking in my head, I guess I could try it again. But see, what they say is, you only get about 20% of that medicine. You take all this stuff and you work yourself up to, I think, 1 gram a day. They start you out low so that you can handle it, okay? Side effects. You build up a tolerance. But I'm not sure. I think it is 1 gram a day at the end. And yeah, I think that the regimen calls for about 64 grams before you're done. But really, in comparison, if it works, that's a heck of a lot cheaper, is it not? But for me, I found that I need to take it a different way. And I was researching. We had a plant count. We were in Colorado. My husband had a plant count because of major injuries and pain. And so we were trying to make medicine for that and also to fight cancer. We were both concerned that we might have cancer. I really should have went to the doctor. I really, really, really should have taken care of business, but I did not. So it's kind of like too late to cry over spilt milk. I have to deal with the consequences of my actions. And I did not go take care of business. Nevertheless, you find all these new things out. And I tried I think I've done a really good job with the ivermectin, but it was time to stop because just because. Now, here pretty soon I'll be having another PET scan, unless they don't let me have a PET scan. I've got a bill I've got to pay. I just need to buckle down and do it. Sometimes, you know, you just put things outside of your mind or you put it out of your sight and then you forget about it. You shouldn't do that. And I know I need to do better. So, I was going to come on here and read Mosiah 6. Looks to me like there's very few verses. And so I might need to do that. How far have we got in this? 34 minutes. Okay. I tell you what. I'll say goodbye. And then I'll get back on here and read that. I'm such a silly. I can mix it. I can do it. Okay, I'll do it. So we're at 34 minutes. I bet it wouldn't take very long to read that at all. All right, people. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to say sayonara. And I'll come back and read Mosiah 6 on its own. So those of you who do not want to listen to that don't have to. And I know I'm reading something foreign to you people. In its own way, it's pretty marvelous. In its own way. I got a song, Everything is Beautiful in Its Own Way. All these songs come into my mind. No, I've been too silly to put it with that. And I was telling you about I didn't tell you who they were. I don't know if I'll be able to get the name in my head. The Warriors. Anyway, Alma 56. If you read Alma 56 or have the book, the app read it to you, they're just not coming to my mind. 2,000 warriors picked up arms and went and reinforced an army that would have been destroyed because they had lost so many men. And these young warriors showed up, big, strong warriors, to reinforce the troops. And the other people, see, they had been already fighting and fighting and fighting, so they were all exhausted. And so they thought, oh my, they got reinforcements, we are going to die. So they backed off and went away. So just by their appearance on the scene. So it was not just by their appearance, because there was some fighting, because I remember hearing that none of them died, but they did suffer wounds. So they had to have fought. And see, I've got Gadian robbers in my head, that word, so it's not letting me pull the right word out of my head. It's weird. But I do get a mental block. I don't want to look it up, but I could. Was it Ammon who took them? See, you'll get me off my course. Alma 56. Do 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 do. This is Stripling Warriors. I don't see it on here, but that's what it is. Helaman sends an epistle to Moroni recounting the state of the war with the Lamanites. Antipas and Helaman gain a great victory over the Lamanites. Helaman's 2,000 stripling sons fight with miraculous power, and none of them are slain. Verse 1, about 62 BC. So it's cutting it down to all the different years. Okay. So they needed help, and there was a letter written, and then this is what happened. So I've read about it before on here. It says, Moroni received an epistle from Helaman stating the affairs of the people in that quarter of the land. And these are the words which he wrote, saying, my dearly beloved brother Moroni, as well in the Lord as in the tribulations of our warfare, behold, my beloved brother, I have somewhat to tell you concerning our warfare. in this part of the land. Behold, 2,000 of the sons of those men who Ammon brought down out of the land of Nephi. Now ye have known that these were descendants of Laman, who was the eldest son of our father Lehi. Now I need not rehearse unto you concerning their traditions or their unbelief, for thou knowest concerning all these things. Okay, before I go any further, so these 2,000 warriors are Lamanites. They have been converted to the Word of God, and they're Lamanites. Their fathers are Lamanites. Their fathers are the ones who buried their weapons and said they would kill no more. So, let's see here. I might have read that already, but I don't think. Now I need not rehearse unto you concerning their traditions or their unbelief, for thou knowest concerning all these things. Therefore it sufficeth me that I tell you that 2,000 of these young men have taken their weapons of war, and would that I should be their leader, and we have come forth to defend our country. And now ye also know concerning the covenant which their fathers made, that they would not take up their weapons of war against their brethren to shed blood. But in the 26th year, when they saw our afflictions and our tribulations for them, they were about to break the covenant which they had made and take up their weapons of war in our defense. But I would not suffer them that they should break this covenant which they had made, supposing that God would strengthen us, insomuch that we should not suffer more because of the fulfilling of the oath which they had taken. But behold, here is one thing in which we may have great joy. For behold, in the 26th year, I, Helaman, did march at the head of these 2,000 young men to the city of Judea to assist Antipas, whom ye had appointed a leader over the people of that part of the land. And I did join my 2,000 sons, for they are worthy to be called sons, to the army of Antipas, in which strength Antipas did rejoice exceedingly. For behold, his army had been reduced by the Lamanites, because their forces had slain a vast number of our men, for which cause we have to mourn. Nevertheless, we may console ourselves in this point, that they have died in the cause of their liberty. See, I added a word. They have died in the cause of their country and of their God, yea, and they are happy. And the Lamanites had also retained many prisoners, all of whom are chief captains, for none other have they spared alive. And we suppose that they are now at this time in the land of Nephi. It is so, if they are not slain. So maybe I'll stop, huh? Kind of got off on a detour. But I told you the story. And it's in Alma 56 if you want to have it read to you or if you want to read it. And that app is, I got two things in my head. Gospel Library. And then the other thing was, I told you guys not long ago, I don't know if it was I told you guys, but I did tell you about a movie, a 30-minute long movie, Finding Faith in Christ. For those of you who do not have faith in Christ, you really should check it out. What's it going to hurt? It's just going to take 30 minutes of your time. And it's not about making you join the church. It's about finding faith in Christ. It's about understanding those scriptures and maybe having someone explain a little bit to you. And I did have it wrong, okay? I was telling you guys about it, and what it is a man and a woman and two kids, and Thomas, and this other fella. This other fella is the one, his wife has died, and he's forlorn. I mean, I don't know how long ago his wife had died, but he's forlorn and he does not believe. And just like a lot of people don't believe, how could God let these things happen? Well, it might not be that he's letting, let's see, it might be that he's letting them happen, but not that he's causing them. Sometimes I think, I mean, and I don't know, maybe he could be up there causing things to happen. But we have free will. The whole idea is to be able to have your free agency, to choose. So I think that would be counterproductive. You know, if he was like pulling puppet strings and making crashes happen and taking breath away from somebody and giving life to another. I don't really think that's all there is to it. I mean, I do believe in miracles. So I do know things can happen. Okay, stop that. I touched my phone and it came on. So anyway, I do get distracted easily. And I do like to follow my brain. But you need good things to follow, right? Or you're going to just get scared in there. I thought about that. I got a lot of good things in there. And it is, the more you work your brain, the better, okay? So you exercise that muscle in there. But if you, it's just what do you put in there? You got to have something in there to work with, okay? There are some children and some young adult children spending a lot of time on those games. What's in those games? Nevertheless, that's what you're feeding your brain. Now with me, you could say probably that I didn't have a choice, but I didn't have to be as good a student either when it came to the church, when it came to the scriptures. But at least, I mean, I'm grateful. I'm so grateful that I've got all this stuff in here to pull from. And so if I was to let my mind wander, and if I was to go through the scriptures and learn some more, other things are back there picking up. It's kind of like a magnet. Now, what show was that? Seems like another Star Trek show. Or something similar, where he's flying and he's like a magnet. It's pulling all these bombs behind him, and then he's leading. He doesn't have much force to go against this guy, but what he's doing is he's flying right into him, and then he goes at the last minute and lets all these bombs, boom, 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 hit the guy. Now, why did I tell you that? It was something about a magnet. And thoughts, the thoughts that come into your head. So, depending on what you have in your brain, that'll have something to do with the thoughts that come out of your head. So living in the light is a good thing. Bringing yourself into the light is going to be a hard thing, but it's still a good thing. Well, see, you're gone. It was something from Walmart. I haven't looked at that frame. Anyway, I was looking for jelly rolls, and you would think that's food. But I was looking for jelly roll fabric. And what it is 2.5 inches wide. And it's like if you were to and I could do that. She's right, I could do that. Material is so expensive. I would have to find a really good deal. But anyway, so if you don't know what a jelly roll is, it's so many pieces, so many strips of material, and they try to kind of make them in the same colors so that you can use it for making a quilt. And there's a way to make a quilt real easy out of it, and it looks really sharp. But the strips are 2.5 inches wide, and then the material that it's from is usually 44 inches wide. Like if you get a yard of material, the yard part is 36 inches, but going across is going to be 44. Okay, so 22 and 22. But the point is to get it for quilting. And I love quilts. I love quilts. And she's got this quilt where you can make it on your machine. Now, she's got a fancy machine, but I think that she was saying you could make it on a regular machine. I don't exactly know how, but so you have to be able to move the material around to do that. So I'm getting distracted on that too. But I've been looking at, things that I could sew and sell. And a quilt is not one of the things that I would think about. But I do love quilts, and if you could find the right colors and stuff. And the thing about the jelly rolls is they've already got like things together. Like say it was a thing of red, so there would be some that might be, they would have all different kinds of material that had red in it. And white. And whatever goes with red, there'll be a few different colors. But it's already done for you. And what you do, what she said you do, because I just watched a tutorial. So she undid all those strips because it comes in like a roll. It looks a big old roll, and it's a spiral, and it's all this material. I'm gonna get me one here before long. But the quilt she did turned out so pretty and so easy to do. So I have to get my sewing machine out and make sure it works. And I've got her sewing machine. We need to make sure it works. Otherwise, you know, sewing machines don't cost that much. Except for the real nice ones. I don't know what they cost. And her machine was really cool. I don't know what it was. I've watched a bunch of different people, so I'm not sure what I've seen. I know one of the machines was a brother, but I was talking about a different brand, and I'm not sure what I'm doing. Go to Amazon. Okay, I got to quit. I've been window shopping. Okay, so I don't know what I wanted to show you a jelly roll, probably. And there's a Michael's not far away. It's got stuff like that, so I'm going to probably check them out tomorrow. But it seems to me, when I was working at those department stores, they would have the sales for the weekend, and then they wouldn't have a sale during the week. But you would think they would carry the sale all the way through. Yeah, I don't know her name, but she's on one of my subscriptions now. She's a fun girl. She likes to sew. She's very jovial, and she gives you some good tips. So I get a lot of interruptions. I think I need to say, I love you. That was a song, people. Anyway, I will let you go. And then I'll come back and I'll do that reading. And then I need to find out what is something that's good to talk about or read. I got something to talk about. Talk about love. Yeah, we could talk about love. But what we need to do is talk about learning how to go without it. If we have love already, we need to try to take care of it. Try to nurture it. Even if you feel silly. Because I know sometimes you can feel silly trying to be all like nice looking, and it's not appreciated. I remember doing that. You don't stay dressed up very long because you feel uncomfortable. You feel out of place. But I like to dress up. I like my fella to dress up. Anyway, you guys have a great Sunday. We did some reading, so if you listen to me, you can count that. But Alma 56 is where you would find that, where they wouldn't let them go and fight. So if I'm getting it right, it's kind of confusing. It's going to sound racist. I'm just trying to put it in perspective for you. You got the white guy and the red guy, okay? Lamanites, Nephites. So then you've got these Nephites have converted some of these red guys, the Indians. They've converted them. They were savages, and they were doing the things that their fathers did, but they were converted to God and the light. So they put down their weapons of war. They buried them. They took an oath they would never kill again. Now, these Indians were taking an oath not to kill, like they were killing the white guys. Okay, because they've always been enemies, the Lamanites and the Nephites. So these Lamanites were converted and decided and made an oath they would never kill again. So I know I just said it, but they buried their weapons. So here comes these people. They're going to hurt the white guys. And he said, because of us. I mean, what I just read. Probably because they had changed their ways. Instead, they left behind what they were, and they came down and stayed with the white guys. Okay? I'm just trying to make a story where you understand what I'm saying. So then these Indians are mad at the guys, these other Indians that have put down their weapons and that have joined with the white guys. Okay, so these other guys are coming in. They're going to be taking battle because they're trying to kill the white guys. And so the ones that had buried their weapons were just about to pick up their weapons and break their oath to help protect the white guys. Got it? That was hard to get out. But that's what was going on in Alma 56. All right. I know I said it already. I'm going to say goodbye. Take care, you guys.